The Phocused Black Podcast. I am your host, Naseed Gifted, and this is
Dilettante J. Bass.
And we are here for the Phocused Black Podcast, coming to you each and every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we got one for you tonight. Definitely. So we're going to get into some things, but we're going to talk about coding the future, Black creativity in gaming. Today, we're going to unleash the power of diversity and creativity as we uncover the untold stories of Black programmers driving innovation in the gaming world. So, and then we got some current affairs, some news trends that's going on that we want to kind of tap into. But we want to thank you all always for tapping in and not tapping out to the Phocused Black Podcast and doing what we've been doing. But we do need you to do something for us to help us grow the channel. We need you to, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Phocused Black Podcast. And we thank you all for watching. We appreciate you, each and every week for the loyal individuals who've been tuning in. So we thank you for that. We definitely thank you for that. So today we want to get into a few things, but I wanted to kind of get into talking about coding the future, right? You've been hearing a lot of stuff about NVIDIA. We're talking about gaming. We're talking about game designers. Those individuals who are doing the work. So there's a number of people in the industry that, are getting opportunities. But this is far from the number of individuals that we need, because within this industry, when we talk about gaming and the video game industry in general, we have less than 4% of Black programmers within the industry. We have about 60% of white males that are dominating this particular industry and everything. We talk about white males. We're not talking about white women. We just talking about white males, 60%. And less than 4% are Black programmers. So that's, of course, that's Black males and females within this. So, there is a small amount of individuals, and we want to kind of bring, light to this, because we want to be able to change the paradigm, because this is a 350 million, is it million or billion? Yeah, it's a $350 billion industry that we're talking about here when we talk about gaming. And we talk about us not just being consumers, but being creators and innovators within this space. So I want to kind of talk about some of the creators and innovators within this space. A couple of weeks ago, we had one of the, game developers, Derek Garvin of Poet Code, who have created the Dynasty of the Magi, which is a phenomenal Afrofuturism video game series that also, when we talk about transmedia, that actually has AR technology, it actually has a book attached to it and everything else in between. So you have a video game, you have a book that's attached to it. That's the next level of a lot of this stuff that's happening. And I wanted to kind of highlight and shout out some of the individuals who are doing the work. So Xavier Nelson Jr., who's the founder of Strange Scaffold, who's a studio head writer and video game developer, who's out of El Paso, Texas. He talks about the challenges that the Black game developer experience. And one of the things that he talks about was the first challenge that a lot of the Black gamers, game developers are facing. The first is the opportunity, right? Getting in the door, being able to sit at the table. And I know our mentor, Carl Sharif, he always talks about, when you're not given the opportunity, you have to make your own table and then sit at that table. So there are some gatekeepers that are, trying to keep, individuals out. But the first thing, especially with this particular industry, is being able to get your foot in the door with these major, game development companies and everything. And then he talks about his second thing, when you're talking about hiring, you get in on an entry level. Then when you get to the senior development level, there is not any opportunities there. So, we're talking about predominantly white males, middle-aged males who are holding these particular seats. So when we talk about the developers and everything, and we get into this and we talk about controlling the narrative and Afrofuturism and everything like that, if at the entry level is a hard to get in, then at the senior level, when you actually finally do get in, there is individuals who are not, clear with the narratives, or being able to, you know, make the decisions on who's doing the storytelling. That's, a barrier in itself. So when we were looking for, game developers or games that speak to our demographics and everything, that's something that doesn't happen because we're not in the writing rooms, as well as we're not able to program the games. One of the things that I saw earlier this week was how, lack of detail, that when we talk about, adding just even black characters to video games, the fact that, they only have like 3 different hairstyles or whatever, and the features, not even the features don't even look, they just put a dark skin on them and then think that and big lips, and then that's how it is. But when you have these game developers who are, from these different demographics and everything, and we're talking about putting diversity in these writing rooms and the programming rooms and everything else, you get characters that reflect the community that in which they come from and everything, and also be able to tell the stories and that's the one thing I like about the Dynasty of the Magi, being able to tell a story that reflects our culture, embeds hip hop and music and dance and everything else in between, but also just a true depiction of our culture and how, we should be represented, within the actual game and in the gaming world, So I wanted to kind of, just kind of highlight some of those individuals, but Xavier Nelson Jr., we want to applaud you for doing the work and being where you are. But also, we got another sister out of Brooklyn, New York, Kat Smalls, who's a video game developer and product designer out of Brooklyn. And how she learned how to code, she started learning how to code when she was 10 years old, right? And she learned how to code because she wanted to create different dress up outfits for her dolls and everything. So that's like one of her little unique stories. And that was back in 99, 2000. And now, because there was a lack of diversity, there was a lack of developers, that looked like her and everything, she went forth and created a whole organization, you know, and because of that, because she developed that organization, it was something that was super, super phenomenal. So I definitely appreciate these individuals who put in the work and make sure that we are not only, are represented, heavy, but making sure that we are making a big, big difference. And excuse me, because I obviously I'm talking a little bit too much, but the organization that she actually developed was the game developers, or the game develops of Color Expo. So the game developers of Color Expo, which is her brainchild, is something that she came forth with, So I mean, we appreciate the individuals, and with that, she actually starts with her little Rockefeller startup money, where game developers, because one of the things about this industry is, of course, is high entry costs. But now you actually have platforms like Unreal Engine and some other free platforms that allow you to be able to develop games, develop characters and everything without the heavy costs that you would have to experience back in the day.
But thing, one of the greatest issues, even with those platforms, some are very basic and mediocre.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you need a team.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
a lot of times we don't have the team or the infrastructure to compete. Like a lot of these major corporations, they have millions of dollars where they can pay programmers, developers,
Mm-hmm.
where we'll be one or two of us. And so with the time it takes for us to create the game could be a year, 2 years.
I mean, well, it already take 2 years
2 years
to
for
build a
us it'd be
game.
5.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because it becomes a labor of love versus
yeah,
something that like where you have a whole team of individuals that go into the game. So for my gamers out there, when you actually beat the game and you look at all of the credits of all of
yeah,
the individuals that's involved, those are all job opportunities for those individuals. And that's part of what we're doing at the Futures Black Podcast is letting you know that there are not only job opportunities, but there's STEAM and STEM opportunities that are involved with your passion for gaming and being a game developer because they're making on average 70 to 80,000 entry level. But when you become good and you put out you know uh phenomenal products as far as games and you get all these downloads and everything, that ups the ante and actually makes you more cost uh not well I mean increase your salary and everything else, just like any other industry or whatever where they see value in what you bring it into these particular projects.
yeah. And another point that must be talked about is like you having children in their 20, 18 watching video games. A lot of parents are having a hard time grasping the concept
Mm-hmm.
of their child just want to sit all day and play video games.
Yep.
Not when in terms you could use that and turn it to a positive instead, put them in certain camps,
Yep. Yep.
certain coding camps. And how you said the STEM. Sometime go on YouTube or Google and Google the video game and look at what goes into it,
Mm-hmm.
and then say, all right, you like playing video games, then I'm a find a school or go to this college that matches up with that what you're interested in. So these are avenues you can take
Yeah. And
to
actually,
create a
we
bond with
provide a
your kid.
we provide a resource on the PBS Steam. So pbssteam.org, we actually have these career maps up there for if you're interested in video gaming, animation, or visual and special effects. So we actually have those opportunities for people because you don't know what you don't know, right? So
Yeah,
parents go out and we fuss at our kids about not being on a game system for hours or whatever at the time, but once again, these game developers are making millions and millions of dollars, and once again, this is a $350 billion industry that we need to be able to tap into and not just be consumers, but be developers and innovators
but
within
part
it.
of one of the real reasons sometimes we be so up there in our thought process that we thinking it's more like industry. Part of it is as parents, well, not our
Yeah,
generation,
yeah, yeah.
but our mothers and fathers.
Yes.
When video games were big on the scene, we had Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, Atari, all that. We wasn't allowed to play them all day because the one complaint they were you burning up my
Yeah, you burn the
electricity.
electricity and you
Like,
gotta go outside. Now parents are allowing their kids to
yeah,
be
like,
up all night playing these games and everything. We're just saying flip it. Turn that
yeah,
passion into something that becomes lucrative, not only for you, but for the young people. Because even if they don't even get on the developer side, they could get on the esports side, where it's just like a professional, you could be a professional gamer,
like
and they're giving out scholarships for that as
not
well.
only when we did the HBCU scholarship tour a couple of months ago, and we was at Morgan State,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a special room in the student center strictly for gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And then the kids they enter in competitions and win battles. You can win 10,000, 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
So these type of things was going on all over the country and all the colleges,
Yeah, I
not
mean,
just colleges.
Bowie State
Yeah,
has a phenomenal gaming as well as animation program. that they're developing. But the scholarship opportunities for these gamers and stuff is something that we didn't have growing up and everything. I was just researching some programs, so there are STEM programs as far as coding and code.org and, a couple other resources for you to be able to just get introduced into, programming and gaming. Because the one thing that you guys got to understand is that everything that you're going to be using has some type of game developer, involved in it. So when we talk about simulations for any training that you're doing, all of that stuff has been gamified, right? When you talk about the military and how they train people on, all of the weapons and everything else, all of the vehicles, they go through a simulation, which is actually a game, that models everything that they're supposed to experience in the real world. So there is a ton of opportunities, within this gaming world, not just to you to play games, but the fact that they are building these different simulations, AR, VR, and everything else in between, to be able to simulate what's going on, within these devices and these platforms, man.
Yeah, and also when we talk about gaming, even in that field, when people doing movies and they have the green screen, they hook up the things almost in the same.
Oh yeah. Because that's the motion capture piece. So that is a part of how they actually for the special effects, add that to the animations and everything else. That those are all part of gaming engines and everything. Because a lot of these things are in parallel. The same engines that you would use for game development, you can use for special effects as well as animation and everything, which a lot of people don't know. You're not pigeonholed to just developing games, but you have so many different skill sets that are associated with, you developing game and programming, from an artistic side to the more technical side to be able to make things happen. So I mean that's like some of the things that are going on within that, and then when we talk about impact, and how game developers are being impacted, I was just looking at a article. Yeah, shout out to Davion Bussy in the building. But black developers, it was ABC News, and I want to kind of make sure we cite our sources. So ABC News talks about black developers push to diversify creators behind the pixels, right? And one of the things that they talk about was the gaming industry is one of the most lucrative tech sectors in the world, bringing in 159 billion dollars globally. They're talking about, according to International Trade Administration, which is a little conflict from what we just stated. But not everyone's getting a piece of the pot. Only 4% of game creators identify as black, according to the study by the International Game Developers Association. Now, black developers and historically black universities are looking to change those statistics in turn and improve representation in the games themselves. Because this is kind of touching on, how we are represented within the games, just like how we are represented in anime and any other industry. And
it crosses boundaries.
Yeah, and how, yep. I mean, and then just making sure that, there's some cultural sensitivity of how we are being depicted within all of this stuff. When we talk about skin types, we talk about skins and hair types and all of these different things, man.
Even like what happens a lot of times, why it's important, everybody, that we create our own characters, because they tend to make us ignorant in the video games and the animation.
Yeah.
If you go watch,
Dragon Ball Z, which is one of our favorites, you see Mr. Popo.
Like
that's a clear example of like
we ignorant, or like the character, the way they're drawn. It doesn't.
Most of the time, we're a boxer.
Yeah, all the time.
we're a boxer. Mike Tyson. Yeah, you gotta be Mike Tyson. You gotta be a boxer.
Certain way. It's like animation. He's a Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Big on Muhammad Ali, but they never be disrespectful to Muhammad. But in the video games, what was that? The first one, like Grand Theft Auto and all.
Oh yeah.
Like, so this is why it's important that we have people creating these images for us. You know, so we can say, all right, that looks like us. That's truly us. The characteristics, the way they conduct themselves, you know. So we have to change the narrative.
We ain't got to be the thug in the video games and everything all the time. You know, like when we talk about diversity, you know, like there is so many different multitudes of blackness, you know, that can be within the gaming and everything. So there's not just one level, you know, there's so many different levels within this within video games and within the industry that we haven't even really seen, you know, yet. And then, you know, one of the things, you know, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. So when we do have these titles, it's about you supporting these particular titles, you know. So it's about you supporting, you know, these particular titles and everything, and that's what allows these titles to continue and be able to flourish and do more. You know, let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know if you think what we're talking about is valid. You know, because we're just doing the research and we're reporting live to the community. That's what we do. That's what we want to do.
What's the new game that they doing a black character and people getting upset about?
Yeah, that's a few of the games. You know, Watchdog. It was Watchdog. You talking about Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of backlash on Assassin's Creed franchise because of that. You know, if you played Assassin's Creed, what was it called? I'm sorry, I know it's about the Haitian Revolution. I can't think of the actual title of the thing. But if you know, put that title in the comments and everything, and I'll look it up in a minute. But you know, with Assassin's Creed, you know, they go back to ancient Egypt, but you know, but they don't depict us in that part. But then they do the Haitian Revolution, you know, and they kind of do the history, and they did a very good job with that. You know, I didn't actually particularly play the game, but I've seen people play it because, you know, like I'm a coach. I don't actually play the game. My brother was the gamer, and I just was coaching him while he played the game and everything. So that was my role. You know, some people know what they're supposed to do within this gaming world. I'm the coach. So that was my role, you know. But definitely let us know where you're tuning in from. If you like what we're talking about, you know, we love to read the comments in the chat and everything. So, you know, just let us know where you're tapping in from. Definitely. But, you know, when we talk about impact and cultural influences in game development, that is something that needs to be much more prevalent. And if we get these numbers up, as far as the game developers, we'll definitely see more of this within the industry, you know. So the 350 or the 150 billion dollars, that is a lot of money that's being spent in this industry on games. And I've been trying to research and try to find the number of black people and their black consumption in this, and I know it's heavy. Oh, Freedom Cry, yes, Freedom Cry. Thank you, Juan. We appreciate you. Thank you for tapping in as well, man. We definitely appreciate it.
To show you the power that we have even in this gaming world. Recently, if I was not mistaken, somebody said people were saying they wrote to the owner, the creators of Mortal Kombat, and said, "Yo, you need to have a scene at the what's the waffle place in Atlanta?
Waffle House."
The Waffle House.
The Waffle House.
They said you need to have a fight scene in the Waffle House.
Yeah.
And so many people commented that the director responded. He said, we'll see, we'll look into it. You know, it's a matter of licensing and all that stuff. And that shows that a lot of us are playing video games that they say, yo, this is where it should happen.
Yeah.
And even on a cultural side, I think the first video game that showed a tad bit of cultural to it to me was Street Fighter. Remember, every character, it was in their country.
Yeah.
That was the first.
Yeah.
Every
they kind of tapped
in
into
their
that.
country.
But remember how they did? Oh man, whatever his name is.
No.
Ball something.
Like a fake Mike Tyson.
Yeah. But he had the big lips, the big eyes, and everything. You know. So
and the same thing happened in Mike Tyson Punch Out with some of the characters. Uh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's the cultural sensitivity because
Yeah,
they're not looking at it. They think that's what we are. You know what I'm saying?
yep,
So that's why we definitely need to be the game developers and everything in these particular rooms and kind of tap into all of that. So I mean, once again, we need to make sure that we change this paradigm. Go beyond being a consumer and be creators and innovators in these spaces, man. And if you need to, just to see where you need to start, we could start with YouTube University. They have a video game high school available for free, for you to be able to tap into. And then there is a number of other free resources that are available to you right now if you wanted to get started, to be able to develop games. And if you want to program and you're doing this as you want to do the Apple platform or Android, you want to do mobile or whatever the case may be, it costs you $99 after you develop the actual software is free, because Apple wants you to develop games on their system and everything. But it only costs you $99 to upload it to their platform once you meet all of their specifications. So all of that stuff is available for you for free to get started, today. Like we want to give you resources for you to get started today because that is what we want to do for our community to be able to kind of change these things. And then also we're going to be looking to do some more summer programming and stuff around
yeah,
these type of things to make sure that we get our community educated and trained up for the opportunity that's available out there. So I want to kind of talk about, we talked about the challenges, but I want to kind of switch gears and then go into some of the current events that's going on. And the
yeah,
current events kind of taps into what is when we talk about open AI and chat GPT and we talk about programmers, right? So the one article that I tapped into, and we'll go into that. Excuse me. Um, This is from Futurism, and the headline talks about OpenAI insider estimates 70% chance that AI will destroy or catastrophically harm humanity. Right? The world isn't ready, and we aren't ready. That's what the title of the article is. Right? And then this article kind of goes into the whole Skynet. You know, the Terminator coming and all this stuff just based on open AI, but them removing the safety uh, um, protocols that's in place and so and I get I get into the article and I just want to read a piece of this. After former and current OpenAI employee releases an open letter claiming that they have been silenced, raising safety issues. One of the letter signees made an even more terrifying prediction that the odds of AI will destroy or catastrophically harm humankind are greater than a coin flip. Uh, interview in the New York Times, former OpenAI governance researcher Daniel Kojo, no, Coco, I mean, yeah, Coco Tarajo accused the company of ignoring monumental risk poses by the artificial general intelligence, which is AGI, because his decision makers are so enthralled about its possibilities. So, this is where corporate um, are in are looking at their dollars and not and removing safety, protocols in it. And he's talking about how OpenAI is really exciting about building AGI, and once again, AGI is artificial general intelligence, and Coco, I'm gonna call him Coco for short because I'm really jacking up his name, and they're relentless racing to be first there. So they dismantled the whole safety team. That's what this
mm,
article kind of gets into, and then the CEO and a couple of what they call his flunkies. That's what they
yeah,
said are a part of this new safety team. So nobody's going to question, the safety protocols that's put into place to ensure that the AGI doesn't do anything that is that goes against the humane when we talk about Skynet and taking over when we as artificial intelligence gets smarter. So how you feel about that?
Well, I saw an article and watched the interview when a guy was like, they was asking the AI, asking the robots question, and the robot was explaining like some of the most selfish is human beings.
Yeah.
And then one of them said they have to destroy the humans. And then like it was another.
I mean, we laughing, but we know that
Yeah.
this is serious business, So we definitely know. Oh, people tapping in. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
And then there was another thing they kept on the hush that one of the robots, AI robots, killed one of the scientists.
Mm-hmm.
But they keeping things like this on the hush.
Oh yeah. Because as this thing is getting smarter, like one of the main narratives is that humans are destructive to themselves. So the only solution is to destroy the humans, and that's usually with the artificial intelligence when it starts making decisions and everything starts to get into as it becomes smarter and smarter and it starts making decisions. Now the other piece to this is that the former employee is just baffled by the fact that they dismantled the whole safety protocol team, and then appointed himself on there, the CEO of OpenAI appointed himself there, and now has a number of his chosen few as a safety a part of the safety team. So now there is no resistance in anything that they're kind of putting off.
But this whole discussion with AI and it's growing, getting smarter, that they showed you this in the film, but they use different Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah.
That's all Planet of the Apes is. It's just Planet of the Apes. You replace the apes with the robots, and that's basically what you have. It's just a similarity talking about how they get smarter and smarter. They do away with the humans because they feel they're useless to society or nature because we're the greatest form of self-destruction.
Yep.
So that's something we have to, just analyzing that movie and thinking about how it relates to real life, And so when you say like this AI thing open, some things we got to say, how far is it really? What point is it at?
Yeah.
Because they show us things years behind. So it's like,
I mean, and they desensitize us to it through movies and media and everything, because a lot of this stuff that we are, as far as from a technology, the military already has about 10, 15 years of using it, and then they make it commercial where, then we as a normal consumer are able to use it or whatever. That was the internet, that was the cell phone, that was all of these different things, that the military was actually using prior to us as the normal citizens who are able to use it. And then they commercialize it and make all of this money off of it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of, tap into that, because I thought that was a really, really interesting article. But once again, when we talk about, coding the future and Black creativity and gaming, we need you within these, creative rooms, because we need the programmers to be programming this artificial intelligence, so we can understand those particular platforms as well, because there is some biases, there are some prejudice that's also embedded into all of those things as well, because the coders and the developers of these particular systems do not reflect the demographics of the community in which we come from, So we definitely got to make sure that we, control that narrative as well. And I would love for you to not only know about this, but be able to know how to circumvent and everything in case the apocalypse ever happens. You know what I'm saying?
That's when you gotta learn EMF technology.
Yeah, man. That's the whole thing. We gotta be able to. We talk about technology a lot, but we also want to go into the simplest terms of, how do we go into a world without technology? Because you have these electromagnetic pulse generators that can or EMF blockers that that takes out entire systems and everything. And I know we've seen this and everything, throughout movies and stuff, but this stuff is real. This technology that we're talking about, they're using this now. So when you don't know about, certain things, you think it's just fantasy and fiction, but, some people actually have pure access to all of this technology that we're talking about today. And the beginning of this is rooted in coding. When we talk about binary code is the root of the computer language, and then being able to know that there is nothing but zeros and ones behind all of the coding language and understanding that.
Another thing too, I would say, since we're talking about technology, we have to start looking at these movies different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen, get off that people just conspiracy theorists. No, this stuff is real.
Yeah.
When you start seeing these sci-fi movies and they doing something, probably 50-60% of that stuff really happens and it's really going on.
Yep. Do your research. Yeah, do your research.
Portals and people, that stuff is really happening. Right now, I was just reading, a guy was just talking about how the technology and the stuff they got going on in the South Pole, underneath the ground, things like that.
Yeah.
So
we still don't know what's going on in space.
Yeah,
and we're above us and under us, we don't know what's going on.
So start looking at these things a little different now. Look at them. Some of these movies is like research or information brought to you.
Yeah. I mean, explore your curiosity. Use that curiosity to explore into these things a lot deeper.
Question everything.
Yep, question everything. And hey, once again, you don't have to believe us. Do the research on your own.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've always honed in on is, besides solving a problem, we want you to understand and do your own research. Because you don't have to believe us, but we want to give you insight, because what you don't know is what you don't know. And if you do know something now, that could be knowledge that you could add into your bank of things that you're experiencing.
Even when you talking about the whole issue of Skynet and tracking.
Yeah.
People don't know, like, one of the major things of, I always get on it, he's a fan of it. Electrical cars.
Oh yeah.
It has nothing to do with saving the planet. Nothing. Actually, is more destructive than gas cars in the end. But
in the end, we'll talk.
Even in
that's a whole nother episode, brother. We can get into that.
The whole purpose of electric cars is to track you down, so they know where you at all movements. And in some of these electric cars, the police department gonna have
kill switch
where they can press a button and shut your car down while you driving. So this is all only purpose of this. I hate to say it, to lead us into the fascist state.
Oh man.
I know
you're talking real deep there, brother. Don't go too deep.
But that's what it's about.
If we're banned, it's because Dilettante wants to talk about these type of topics.
Man. You know what's the best movie I want everybody to watch? Judge Dredd.
Yes, Judge Dredd.
With Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. That's where we're heading. That is the future right there.
Oh man,
that's where we heading. Put my money on it. It's going that way already.
What's the bet? How many years though? How many years? All right,
5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 years. So in the
years.
chat, let us know where you think we heading to Judge Dredd.
5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 years. That's what
Judge Dredd and RoboCop.
RoboCop.
Taking it back to RoboCop.
A lot of people don't even know about RoboCop, but what they're doing with prosthetics and everything, with cyborgs and all that stuff, that definitely
think
is happening.
About the RoboCop, the robotic dogs now they have.
Yo, that was like some creepy stuff, man.
Yeah,
like when I saw that,
now
and then the autonomous delivery bots that they have now going around New York City. You sitting there like,
they got it on Morgan State campus now. You order your food, there's a bot that walks around, ride around, and they about to on Morgan State College campus. You know how colleges have buses to take the kids around? The bus is gonna be autonomous.
Yeah, that's Judge Dredd. That's definitely, that's
Telling you, that's what we moving to. Mark my words, y'all gonna be like, he said it.
He said it. He said it. Wait, what's the date? Let's make sure we mark the date.
Y'all gonna call me Black Adamus.
June 6th.
Yeah,
June
Black
6th,
Adamus
2024. Dilettante has made his prediction.
Dilettante, aka Brother Son, aka Black Adamus.
Black Adamus.
I'm predicting the future of all this stuff.
I mean, and that's what we do. We talk about the future is black, so we know what we getting into, man.
Yeah.
So we definitely. So Lawan said, he said 20 to 30 years.
Brother, it's gonna be closer than that.
Said closer to that, So Black Adamus is going with 5 to 10 years. 5 to 10 years.
Think about this. In the movie Judge Dredd, if you curse, they gave you a thing.
Oh, you got a demerit or whatever they call it.
What is
ticket.
that? That's called the credit social system.
Yeah, that's a social capital. Social. Right? Yeah, that's. So what you're talking about now, they actually have in Asia right now.
No, but even here, you curse or you say certain things that go against the government. Look now, they'll say you're this, so you that.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, you can't say that or that, but what they do, they use the woke stuff and say, oh, you got to be more open to stop you from speaking freely. It's just that a lot of times when we think of this stuff, we always think of it's some high level technology.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes, it's an ideology.
Yeah, it's definitely an ideology. But when we talk about private, we talked about this previously. But I go back to social media. Right.
Yeah.
So social media is another tracking system to be able to, regulate and tell you, because if you start talking about some stuff that's too controversial, guess what they do? They block you, right? They take away your rights to be able to even do your freedom of speech.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I had 100,000 followers, and then next thing you know, they get knocked off the system and everything, because they're tracking all of these things. They love to be able to freely give your content and your ideas and data and how you think, how you feel. They want to know who you hanging with, all of these things, how you document your entire life, so they could be able to predict and forecast as far as social capital of what you like, what trends.
Even technology, they use entertainment to create their power base, and their power comes from you being ignorant about what you're doing. Like one of the forms that they did a couple of months ago, everybody was posting pictures of, they use that site to make them seem
how they look when they get older.
Yes. They don't realize they gathering that, so sun go down, they already know.
Yeah, they already got you. If you're trying to go hide or whatever, they already got you in the age act. I saw that. I saw through that whole cloak and dagger piece right there.
Stop posting everything. Stop showing like what restaurants you at. Stop doing a lot of this stuff where you eating or what you eating, because they building a whole profile against you. And some of these profiles they build against you, they could create weapons to destroy you based off your profile.
Because if they know, because just for instance, if they know that you go to this restaurant frequently, then it's easy to do the hit. If that was the play, they could do the hit. They can sabotage all of that. And then you wondering why certain things are happening to you. Because all of this stuff is being, once again, all this stuff is being documented. So hey, be conscious of all of this stuff, because that's what we talk about is the future is black.
And in the future, remember everybody, they work in stages. From the AI, all this is stage. The first form of stage was self-checkout, right? That was one, we already talked about that. But one of the greatest form of tracking and how they worked in the tracking stages is when they came out with the cards for Pathmark.
Oh yeah.
Pathmark, the shopping saving card. Then it came ShopRite. Then everybody else did it. What that is, it tracks what your spending habits. It tracks what you eat. It tracks, also it helps the store because they know what products to buy. So they be like, in this store, in the black community, they love yellow rice, the black and the Latino. So we're gonna buy 10,000 boxes of yellow rice. this community love quinoa. But what it also is, they could know how to shorten the community because it's like a food shortage in certain neighborhoods. So these were the first level of tracking where they monitor your habits.
Yeah, I mean, and then they give you this whole cost benefit aspect. So the benefit is that, oh yeah, you know, you get discounts on particular foods and certain coupons and that's what
they give you incentive.
So you can volunteer the information without readily, because if they ask you to fill out a survey and tell you to do all of this stuff, you're like, nah, man, I'm not doing that. But because you're going to get a coupon of 50 cents off, $1 off, buy one get one free, you are readily willing to give up this information to them.
That's what we do on Instagram. Twitter, we voluntarily give them information so they could take the same information
and sell it back. Sell it right back to you. You know, because you're wondering why. You know, like when they have cookies on these particular sites, sometimes you even talking to your phone and then next thing you know, the ads are popping up of whatever you're thinking about. So that is by design, you know what I'm saying? Understanding there's no, you know, it's a whole lot of, you know, the algorithm that goes along with all of this in the program. So back into that, you know, when we talk about coding the future, right? So, you know, and Black creativity and gaming, all of this is about, you know, increasing the paradigm of individuals who are actually creating these platforms and making sure that we are a part of these particular narratives. That is the purpose and the gist of everything that we're talking about here tonight.
Yeah.
So, you know, once again, we ain't gonna hold y'all. We definitely thank you all for tuning in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you like us, you know, make sure you do a few things for us because we want to grow the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Phocused Black podcast. We thank you. Share it with a friend. You know, our call to action is, hey, share this with 10 friends. Share this with 10 friends. We want to give out this information. And if you go to the PBS Steam, and I'm going to put it up here just real quick, you could get a lot of the information that we're talking about with regards to everything within gaming. I'm going to put this up here, you know, before we check out.
Yeah.
PBS Steam. And we actually have these resources available for all of the different career paths in animation, gaming, and comic. That's my other platform. Okay. But we're talking about, oh man, I spelled it wrong and everything. Hold up, let me put that right. There we go, PBS.
If you have any questions or need guidance, you can contact us, email us, DM us, just hit us up.
Yeah, definitely hit us up.
Especially if you got little ones and you want to put them in certain programs.
Yeah, we definitely have a plethora of opportunities that's out there, you know. But definitely tap into PBS Steam. You know, let us know what you think. We have a career map for gaming, animation, and visual and special effects that's readily available for you to be able to download. I wanted to kind of just give them, you know, because we got the Jazen piece that's coming out, so I wanted to kind of let the people and close it out with that. And then, hey man, we ready. So without further ado, this is Jazen, the Afrofuturism experience that we're building, and we're looking forward to you being a part of this. And we thank you guys for all tuning in.
Yes.
Tune in next week, same time, same channel. And that is the Phocused Black podcast each and every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that, we're going to tell you peace. You know, look at this, Jazen Afrofuturism experience that we're building. And thank you for tuning in.
My name is Jazen Scott, and I'm a research oncologist. I've dedicated my life to finding a cure for cancer, and my team and I have made a breakthrough. But before we could bring the cure to the public, tragedy struck.
Watch you take my blood from me. Y'all beat my bro illegally. In front of his home, his mama's. Yeah.
There was a shootout, and an anti-terrorism squad trooper lost their life. I was close to death when they brought me in for questioning. I was accused of being involved. They wanted information about the shootout, but what they didn't realize was that the cure for cancer costs more than you could imagine. We discovered that the cure was expensive to make, and big pharmaceutical companies would try to charge outrageous prices for it. We wanted to get the cure to the people who needed it, without them having to choose between their lives and finances.
You killed our brother, didn't you?
This Kickstarter campaign is more than just to raise funds for the graphic novel. It's to build an Afrofuturism experience that includes poems that infuse the story with raw emotion, grappling with the bigger picture of social justice, and pushing us to imagine a more equitable future. Thank you for helping to make this dream a reality.
Be a part of the journey and help bring Jazen's story to life in the graphic novel, Jazen, The Rose That Grew from the Concrete, Part 1.
I remember I was starving, don't know how to let go, but I let go.